everybody, and welcome to another episode of Plaid Stallions Toy Ventures. I am Brian, your host, and this week we hit the road to do an antique mall crawl. My wife joined me for this trip. It's one of our favorite things to do. We went as far as we could and then worked our way back, hitting every viable antique mall and thrift store on the way. We also decided to play something called Antique Mall Bingo at our first stop, and that was a lot of fun. It made it very interesting and trained our brains to look for different things. Just want to issue a disclaimer before we get into this. This is a bit of an experimental episode. I picked up what is basically a knockoff GoPro, and I'm trying to use it more in these kind of episodes. I did plan to do some talking commentary, but top 40 radio and a man playing a player piano at one of the places really kiboshed those plans. It wasn't something I was expecting, so I put a little bit of an audio bed there, and I will come in and out with some commentary when I can. So, the first place we went to was the one-of-a-kind antique mall, and I've been here before, and I've done shows here before, but it's been at least a year since I've been there. And it's the biggest antique mall in Canada. It is located in a place called Woodstock, not that Woodstock. And if you come to the Toronto area, you really need to check this out. It's definitely worth the drive. It is 3 floors of antiques and collectibles. And definitely you need to spend at least 2 hours going through this place. So let's give you a grand tour of some of the things I saw at the one-of-a-kind antique mall. couple of Mego Star Trek The Motion Pictures aliens here. These kind of pop up occasionally. I don't need these guys, but it's always nice to see them in the wild. There's a flashback from the 90s, the Steel toy line. I don't think I ever saw these in any store. I've seen the movie, love the movie, it's really great. Wow, Kenner would put anything out back then. Oh, we found the Mego. We've got Batman and Robin and their original gloves. And the Batmobile. Kirk, Spock, McCoy and Klingon. Some Star Wars. More Star Wars. And then on this side we've got the Great Wayne Gretzky, very commonly found here. And Mr. Starsky and Mr. Hutch back there. So that was a lot of fun. I didn't really pick up anything at the One of a Kind Antique Mall. My wife left with armloads of stuff, mainly vintage Christmas. And we both came out with a tie on the Antique Mall bingo. We couldn't find any Alf stuff. Can you believe it? 3 floors, no Alf. Our next destination is a place in Cambridge, Ontario called Southworks Antique Mall. This is a very popular destination for us. We hit it at least twice a year. It's a little more high end. It's a lot more furniture and antiques, or as my wife and I like to call it, it's a little shishikaka. However, it's always fun to go through. It's a very clean and organized antique mall, and you never know what you're going to find in there, so I always like to stick my head in. So here's what we saw at Southworks. Our final destination today before we headed home was the Frielton Antique Mall. I love this place. It is located in Frielton, Ontario. It's about a half an hour outside of Toronto. It is an old refurbished barn just loaded with antiques, and it's probably my favorite antique mall in Canada, to be honest with you. I love the selection. I love the staff. It's really my favorite place. And just in case in point, I was here 2 weeks ago with my son, but there was so much vintage Christmas that my wife really wanted to come back, and I'm always up to return to this place. And surprise, surprise, I actually did find something I really wanted here. But let me give you a tour. Okay, so this is pickups and regrets. I'm going to start with regrets. The Blood Island poster that was out, Southworks, really tempted me. I'm a huge fan of those movies. It wasn't overpriced. It came with its own frame, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it for a couple of reasons. Mainly because it was in black and white, and I think I want a color Blood Island poster. And also wall space is like impossible here, so I'd have to really be motivated to buy it. The other regret was not talking my wife into buying silky balls. I am not mature enough to own something like this. Also, did you know that Webster, like Emmanuel Lewis, had a single in Japan? I had no idea, and I really, really want to hear this. Not enough to pay for it, but to hear it. As for the pickups portion, there's a long-running thing between me and my wife, as if she starts scoring early, I probably won't find anything that day, and vice versa. And it was looking that way when we left the one-of-a-kind mall. The only thing I really picked up of significance is this Hamburglar pencil holder. These were made, I believe, in Canada, and were sold in the early 80s in the Happy Meals. It's definitely related to the Shreddies black hole pencil holders that I collect, and that was kind of the connection. Also, I'm kind of weirdly obsessed with the Hamburglar, and I buy any Hamburglar merch I see. I also didn't pick up anything out Southworks, and seeing as I'd just been to the Frielton Antique Mall, I had no expectations. But lo and behold, I found this Land of the Lost pinball rack toy by Laramie. Beautiful, sealed in the bag. And this was $25. Huge fan of Land of the Lost. Bigger fan of Sleestacks. I have a loose one of these, but I really love this card art. And for $25, it had to come home with me. My only regret is that I found this 3 weeks after I met with the cast of Land of the Lost at Monster Bash. That would have been epic to get this signed, but there's always next time. To me, it was a perfect day. I had a lovely time with my wife, and we reconnected after, a long week of work. And we ran into some really nice people. So, all in all, I can't wait to do it again, but I want these stores to recharge their merchandise, if you know what I'm talking about. So that is my antique mall tour. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below, or you can hit me up in our Facebook group, Pod Stallions. Thank you as always for watching. If you're new to this, I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe. We do this every week. Until next time, talk toys, not others, and be well. Cheers. And hey, if you like what we do publish a magazine called Toy Ventures. It's named after the show. It is an old school print magazine dedicated to vintage toys. You can check it out at the store below, and thank you for considering.